This team has been a beacon of light, channeling that Mamba mentality. It took a while, but the Lakers are back in the finals. Sure, the job's not done, but it's been a long road since 2010. It feels good to be back.
Shaq, I remember one of his quotes. He was like, "You're not a real Laker until you put a banner in the arena." I was like, "Damn, that's a lot of pressure." Because I remember just walking to Staples and looking up there and seeing all those damn banners.
You're officially a Laker now.
Laker Nation, I got great news for you. LeBron locked up for 3, AD for 5. AD is here to stay.
LA is the place I want to be. So you lose a lot of guys, and we added, some guys in to take on their roles. Ever since holding that trophy, I just want to do it again.
And the world champion Lakers officially begin defense of their title tonight against the Clippers. Tip-off at 7, but before that, a little celebration and a lot of bling. They will receive their championship rings. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Allie Clifton, Mike Bresnahan. We're going to be here until 6:30. Then you're going to go to TNT and you're going to watch the ring ceremony live. Allie, 3 years and counting. Brez, 5 and counting. And Big Game James, our 9th year together. We were here from day one. Just want to congratulate you guys on being world champions.
Oh, thanks, Keith. It means a lot.
I was like, where's he going with this?
Congratulating you. You're champion.
I love it.
Yeah.
A special congratulations to you, Geeter. I don't think you could have taken it another year.
I might not be here today had the Lakers not won. It was basically go time.
But here you are.
But listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get right to it. Laker fans, keep gloating, keep celebrating, because the players are for sure, and they are pumped. Tonight is ring night. Lakers are your NBA champs, and the Lake Show is getting the hardware tonight to prove it. We'll be taking you right up to that coverage ceremony tonight at 6:30. TNT, LeBron James, doesn't matter how many rings he has, he's feeling it. Wow, ring night, man. It just hit me. Man, oh man. Hate my family. Friends and fans won't be there to witness it. Disappointed face, though. Nevertheless, I can't believe I'm ringing it up again. Truly blessed, folded hands. The kid from Akron, Lakers Governor Jeannie Buss. The ring is special for so many reasons. Thank you, King James, for leading the Lakers back to the winner's circle. Jeannie's right. The Lakers have a special leader in LeBron James. What better way to open up the season with a ring ceremony? James, I'll start with you. As a player, how special is this night?
It's a special night, something that you achieved as a team. Unfortunately, some of your teammates may have moved on and they're not there, but unfortunately, the fans won't be there tonight. But nevertheless, Geeter, it's something you look forward to. A mission accomplished, and I'm sure they will enjoy it despite the circumstances.
I don't think there's anything better than an opportunity like tonight to start a new journey, that new challenge, to want to do it all again. It's kind of like the cherry on top before you close that chapter, which was so short-lived in a sense because of the shortened offseason, right? That cherry on top and that motivation and what you kind of feel, that fuel, that energy to want to run it back. And it's special. And the other thing, too, is when you're a champion, when you're a defending champion, you get to go that whole season and experience getting everyone's best shot.
Yeah,
calling you a champion.
The target on your back.
Target on your back and that competitive edge.
Brez, you saw there, stay tuned, Laker fans. I love it. I think it's genius that they're not going to unveil the banner until that place is packed with all of the Laker fans. They will get their rings. However, how special is this for the organization? Yes, it's a bummer that people can't be there. We can't all celebrate together. We will wait for that day, and it will be something else. But for this organization, number 17.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, we talked about it yesterday on our shows. I got to interview Dr. Buss several times over the years. James, obviously, you played for him. It meant a lot to him to someday catch and eventually surpass the Boston Celtics for that magical 17th championship. They caught him. Big deal right there. And now comes step one of a two-step phase. As you said, Geet, they're not going to raise the banner until there's fans in the stands at Staples Center. No one knows when that's going to happen. There's not going to be any fans for the foreseeable future. But always a fun night. I got to cover two in 2009 and 2010. One thing, it's going to be very interesting for the team as far as X's and O's. I remember talking to Andrew Bynum after he got his first ring in 2009. He had a great game in the opener. And afterwards, he said, it's really hard to come down from the emotions of that ring ceremony and realizing you've got to play a game. So that's going to be something to look for. How do the Lakers do as far as transitioning from great time, fun half an hour to, all right, we have to play a game, and it's against our hated rivals, the Clippers.
Now you look at Staples Center right there, +1. There is 2020. So special. And the Lakers, did they get better? Not only did the Lakers win it all, but they also locked up some key pieces heading into their title defense. LeBron James signed a 2-year extension, close to $86 million. AD re-signed to the max on a 5-year, $190 million. And they rewarded Kuz with a 3-year extension, $40 million. Big game, I want to start with you. Great deal for both teams when it comes to Kuz. I'm very happy for Kyle Kuzma. That first big contract, James, it changes your life off the court. What can it do for you on the court?
Well, he's been a patient young man, coming in here young, talented, overcoming some injuries, having to adjust to real veteran players coming in here and being patient, learning the other end of the court, everything they've asked him to do. So he deserves, what he received with this big contract, and I think it will mellow him out so he can really now not worry about that. Because I know players have a tendency sometimes, he's seen Ingram, he's seen Randall, he's seen Ball, he's seen a lot of young players. So I think he can put that behind him now, and I think he'll continue to focus because I do think he wants to get better. And so put that behind him. Now he can really hone on his game. He's really been improving. Just continue to sustain that.
Prez, how important is it for this Laker team to have these three guys locked up?
It's worth about $316 million to the Laker franchise. That's what they shelled out to give these guys their extensions and their contract renewals and whatnot. It's a big deal, for the nucleus of this team, going to be together at least 3 years. If Kuz ends up opting in for that third year of that deal, the big one, obviously, Anthony Davis. That was the one we were all kind of waiting on. I thought it was going to be a year, maybe 2 years. Then he would kind of dip a toe back into the waters as far as getting the biggest contract he could. Great sign for the franchise. And he said, you know what? I'm going to take the max right now. 5 years. I don't care about the fact that after my 10th year in the league, which would be 2 years from now, I can opt out and re-sign for more money. That was irrelevant to him. That was a big, big day for the Lakers to have this guy for 5 more years.
Allie, it really sends a message that we're not just thinking about right now, but we want to win for years
at the future. Yeah. And I think when you think of this Laker franchise, that's what it's all about. It's not just about winning and picking and choosing when you want to win. It's about sustaining that kind of excellence and that consistency. And when you have 3 of your top guys locked in, the security, the trust, the foundation that you can continue to grow upon, and especially coming from LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and then you've got a young rising star in Kyle Kuzma who has stayed the course. You talk about his patience. It's a high reward this offseason for those 3 guys.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the patience for Kyle Kuzma. James, sometimes guys play so well under the pressure of having a contract looming over them, but other guys, it frees you up. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Security.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kuz was at that breaking point where, he was at the point where he could either, stay where he was, or he could, take a deep breath, relax, recognize where he is, and move forward. So I think it's going to relax him now. We might see I'm pretty sure we're going to see some good ball out of him.
And James, a very equitable deal for both sides. Kuz going to make about $13.3 million a year on average. Take into account the average NBA salary next season will be about $10 million. That's a pretty good deal for him and for the Lakers as well.
We're off and rolling. Plenty more ahead here on Access Sportsnet Lakers. Talen Horton-Tucker was the breakout star of the preseason. The big question now, did he do enough to earn minutes when the games count? Coming up on Access, the Lakers made the moves. You would expect reporter Mike Trudell, first regular season game at Staples since March 10th. That was 287 days ago. So much has happened since that night. Welcome, Mike Trudell. This won't be your first ring, my friend. It'll be your third. called the flex.
Oh, man, it's so good to see you guys. It's so great to have NBA basketball back. And, Geeter, you talked about how long ago it was since March, and that seems like an eternity ago. Well, I'm trying to remember back to 2011, the last time the Lakers had a ring night. I had to go on YouTube and watch the ceremony. Remember, it was so awesome. The players all introduced each other. Finally, Fish brought up Kobe to get the final ring, and then he brought Dr. Bussoff up. It was such an amazing moment, and I can't wait to see how it's going to go tonight. Of course, the main difference, not having the fans here to celebrate. And, of course, everybody misses the fans. That just changes the entire dynamic. But still, it'll be special to see these Laker players get to see a glistening piece of what they earned. Of course, there is a basketball game that has to be played after that, and that's mostly what we stuck to with Frank Vogel. So, look, he's excited to get his ring also, but he's been in Clippers game tape for the last several days. So that's where we went with the coach a couple of moments ago.
This will be our first taste of everybody gunning for us this year. When you're the champion, everybody circles you on their schedule. They get up for that game, and that will be tonight will be the first example of that. But it really comes down to once the ceremony is over, that's behind us. And it's time to play a basketball game, and we have to be the aggressors.
Frank, what have you thought about from the lineup perspective, and how did that come together as what you saw in the preseason games?
Yeah, we're going to look at a lot of different combinations. We're going to hold the lineup until 30 minutes prior, and like this whole first month to 6 weeks of our season is going to be about exploring different lineups and combinations. So we'll be creative with it. We'll learn a little bit more about our team and focus on our habits.
Is there one point of emphasis tonight, Frank, that's atop the scouting report when you look at yourself and you look at this Clippers roster?
Well, for us and for the Clippers, we're going to keep them off the free throw line. We spend an exorbitant amount of time for the last couple of days watching, sort of all the tricks that they use, to hook your arm or use shot fakes. They're very good at getting to the line. Number one in the league last year at getting to the free throw line. So we have to play with great discipline. If we put them to the line all night, it's going to be a long night for us.
All right, so we are getting close, guys. Rings are about to come out. I was looking to see if they were right behind me. I mean, they're somewhere in the back, right? They're going to present them shortly. Of course, you can watch that part on TNT. And I can't wait to see all that. And then we get to watch a little basketball and see if the Lakers look as good as they did in the preseason. For now, Geeter, let's go back to you in the studio, bud.
Yeah, Mike, looking for a report later in the game, too. I want to know Clippers, once again, two of the top pairs in the league. It's ring night, and you know this, James. The other team in L.A. would like nothing better than to spoil ring night for the Lakers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, ring nights are difficult games because it's kind of like the second half of the ceremony. You win, you celebrate on the court there, you come back, you celebrate, you kind of have a little downtime, and then you actually get the ring. And that is a special moment. But then you got the other team down there really wanting to, kick your ass because, it's a prolonged, ceremony. It's on TV, it's national, and it just so happens that they happen to be crosstown rivals. So yeah, typically ring ceremonies aren't very good for the team that's receiving the ring, so they really got to keep their antennas up.
Yeah, it's not like the Clippers need any extra motivation. I mean, I think when they lost that lead up 3-1, all the talk around the league, everyone kind of celebrating their destruction. They got some new faces in there, a new voice, even though Ty was on the bench last year. I think motivation's enough, but of course ring night adds to it.
That was my thought too. Let's not get it twisted. Tonight is about the Lakers, but if you think that that's all the Clippers want to do is come in and spoil ring night for the Lakers, I mean, you just think about from that moment of the collapse to where we are now, no pun intended, I think they've been doused, speaking of championship celebrations, with enough added motivation beyond just tonight in one game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the NBA, I see what they did with the matchup. I think we all did. It makes a ton of sense to us. They could have given the Lakers an easier opponent. Okay, maybe like send, Sacramento in here or someone who's going to be struggling this year.
No shot.
No shot at that. No chance of that. So the Lakers indeed have to play a game after a fun, vibrant half-an-hour ceremony, and it will be a fun game to watch. Although the Clippers did not look too good in that preseason, did they?
It's the first game of the season. You really can't spoil ring night. You're getting the ring. You know, so if you lose, you know, you got how many games left?
71 more,
you
you're
really
fine.
Can't spoil it.
Yeah.
You know, if you lose, you just say, look what I got.
And listen, James, both teams look different than last year. Both teams made moves. And, you know, we can ask to compare them. It's tough until that season gets going. But did both teams get better, in your opinion?
I think the Clippers have a lot more work to do as far as creating chemistry. They lost, you know, a valuable player coming off the bench and Montrezl Harrell. So one of the things that I always heard is that the chemistry was never there, the cohesiveness. You got a new coach now. You have, you know, 2 star players that need to rectify what happened. So they got a lot of work to do. They got the components to get it done, but I think their challenge and their job is going to be a lot more difficult than it is for the Lakers, who are way much improved and have a nucleus of chemistry already in place.
Allie, they always say sometimes a coach it's good to move on to a fresh voice. Even though Ty was on that bench last year, you were in Cleveland when Ty took over. Why is he the man for this job?
Ty is a player's coach. Ty is a coach that, and this is no disrespect to Doc, and kudos to him being in Philly and landing the next position. He was a championship coach as well. But from Ty's standpoint, as you mentioned, covering him in Cleveland for those 4 seasons, he's a player's coach. He's a guy who has won titles as a player and as a coach. But something that he did really well was he understood blending superstars. He understood the chemistry, the camaraderie. And we've already heard outside of the Clippers camp that was a point of emphasis for Ty. They've had team bonding moments already. Guys just sharing stories about one another to let their teammates know who they are as people. That's a step. It's a transition. It's a new thing that Ty has brought into that Clipper organization, and it just continues to improve what they lacked and where it begins. And he's starting at the core of it all when it comes to the chemistry.
You know what storyline you're not hearing right now that you heard a lot before last season? Who the Clippers are better than the Lakers. And, you know, there were some new faces for the Lakers and whatnot, but you're not hearing that at all right now because on paper the Lakers got better. Don't know if you can say that about the Clippers. I don't like them losing Montrez to the Lakers, like you alluded to, James. They made a decent save picking up Serge Ibaka, more of a shot blocker and three-point shooter than Trez is. But he's also older. He's in his early 30s. Montrez is mid-20s. I mean, the Clippers got a little bit older. And like you also alluded to, James, new coaching staff. That's going to be very big for this program. But I felt like Doc Rivers was there for like 30 years. It seemed like he really had become a bedrock of that franchise. They just could not get past the second round. So Steve Ballmer said, all right, we got to bring in someone new. It's up to Ty Lue to get something done.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say. I mean, last year the hype was there. You know, the Clippers versus the Lakers.
A lot of buzz.
I don't think that's the phrase this year because of Denver, because of the Warriors coming back. You got Brooklyn on the East Coast. I don't think they're really going to make that comparison. They got a lot of work to do to get their identity back in the league, so they can get the respect that they have the players. But you got Denver, you got teams over here in the West that are, ready to go.
It's not just Clippers and Lakers, that's for sure.
For the record, last year's team for the Lakers, 2020, they won a championship. This year, I can't say they're better yet. They're different. The style's going to be different, and I cannot wait to see it. Lakers are about 30 minutes from their ring ceremony. That will be on season. They signed the reigning sixth man of the year away from the Clippers and Montrezl Harrell, added Dennis Schroeder, who finished runner-up. They also signed 2 players with Laker ties, Marc Gasol, younger brother of Pau, and Wes Matthews, whose dad played with James during the back-to-back titles in '87 and '88. Time for a little Access 360, brought to you by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
Good times.
Good times indeed. Time to highlight what these new additions do well. Big game, James. Take it away.
Yeah, great additions for the Lakers. Great assets. Let me find me a TV. Actually, I'm going to the wall for the first time.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Never been. Break a leg, James. Oh, I'm not going to the wall now? Okay.
It's coming.
Check it out. Access 360. Big game at the wall. Let me get 1 foot down.
Man, I hope Ron
Here we go.
Fisher
We're looking
won.
at Wes Matthews, baseline out of bounds. One of the things that he does well, and he is a spot shooter. So when the ball comes in, you see he fakes right, comes off with this little brush screen, and right away he's shooting, I believe, 36% from 3. He can get it done from 3 if he get his feet set. Shooter, here's a guy says average about 18 points. He's going to be trouble because he can do it all. He can distribute, he can shoot from the outside, and as you can see there, he can finish from the rim. One of the things that Montrezl Harrell does best is he follows up on offensive rebounds. I think he led the league in double-doubles last year, 58% shooting from the field, and that's why he is not a spectator. And then you're going to come to Marc Gasol, 39% shooting from behind the three-point line. He's a guy that can create a lot of mismatch problems because he can spread the floor. There are 4 additions that we're going to be taking a close look at. The wall's not too bad.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, our bench is going to be incredible when you have those type of players coming off. It's a tough problem to have, but Coach Vogel is going to have a problem making scenarios, lineups. He can go small, he can go big, he can have a lot of options there. So, looking forward to see what these 4 guys are going to do for us.
Kicking off year number 9 with a little breakdown at the wall, huh, big fella?
James.
Oh,
I get up here.
Take that, Robert
was
Horry.
real nice. Mid-season form. You know, Fish and Horry proud at home watching for sure.
Yeah.
I can
Rob's gotta
take
get up
Rob
there.
on, but Fish, I'll leave it to Fish.
Brez,
get Rob.
the Lakers signed a new veteran center. Happens to be Powell's brother, Mark. Go a little inside access with him. He can shoot it.
Yeah, you know, unlike Powell, who's a very gifted player in his own right, Mark can definitely shoot threes. As you can see right here, he's a gifted guy who can really help the Lakers in this area. He loves the corner threes. 46%, that is rock solid right there. Pretty good on the wing, too. Now, top of the key, you know, doesn't look as good, but to be honest, that's where he took a majority of his threes. A lot of drop-off passes to him when he was trailing coming up the court. The big news here is the Lakers last season shot only 35% from deep as a team. So those numbers right there are already a little bit of an upgrade. Definitely a welcome addition to the team. By the way, he's made almost 400 threes in his career. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee combined have made 14 in their career. So the Lakers, you know, definitely lose a little rim protection when those guys left, but pick up a nice shooter in Marc Gasol.
Yeah, they bring in the veteran center and a guy who can stretch the floors, as Brez said, and a guy who can facilitate like that. How valuable is that for this team?
You know, I think when you are building around 2 superstars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, right, you need floor spacers, you need shooters. But I think also when you have that kind of skill in Mark, as you guys have both broken down, not only his ability to shoot the basketball, that's one thing. But we've been hearing a lot about his IQ on the defensive end, but what we're seeing up close is how well he can facilitate. And I think that added element takes the pressure off Anthony Davis and LeBron James playmaking. It's just another option that Frank has in his toolbox.
Yeah, James, they're going to run a lot of sets where Gasol has the ball at the top of the key and he's got options and different actions.
Yeah, I mean, Allie brings up a great point because of all the skills that he brings. The one that excites me the most is his ability to be a trigger man at the top of the key because he can pick people off if you're cut it and you're slicing. And the one thing that he does that a lot of people don't take notice of, he makes a late pass. A lot of times the defense is defending you and they think they've done their job and they take one little breath off and he snaps it right to you late. So he's a smart player. He's a good communicator. As you mentioned, on the back line, you're going to be hearing a lot of communication where picks are coming, what's going on. So, yeah, he may be a little older, but he's still got the wisdom upstairs.
And the person who should be really excited about the new Lakers, LeBron James. Heading into year 18, he's near the top in every statistical category, including games and minutes. Look at the numbers. They're off the charts. Season 18 starting tonight. LeBron James, 41,732 points. Regular and postseason totals. Those numbers are crazy. Allie, I want to start with you. This year, though, it's unlike any other year LeBron has started because of what happened last year, because of the shortened offseason, because it's year 18. Does the approach change?
No.
Gotcha.
I don't think so. I don't think the approach changes. I think he will continue to listen and understand his body and what it needs. And so as we talked about the patience of Kyle Kuzma, LeBron James will remain patient, though every single day he will show up and take care of his body as he has done his entire career. I think where we may see approach more strongly, more heavily is from the mind, the mental aspect. I think that is the one thing that you can never underestimate with LeBron James. I think you may see him try to get more of his teammates involved, figuring out how they like the ball, where they want the ball, where they work well, the combinations, who he works best with out on the floor. That mental action is where I think we'll see strong out of the gate. But I think it'll still be the LeBron James that we've all been accustomed to seeing.
No question. I mean, the older you get and the more experience you've had, like he's experienced, you become a coach. You become a coach on the floor. You become more involved with the mental aspect of the game, theory of the game, the science of the game that makes it easier on your body. So he's been able to do that each year. And as he gets older, you know, he continues to do it.
Yeah, this is the shortest offseason for any North American pro sport ever. I mean, 71 days for the Lakers between games. Geet, you're shaking your head. It's really mind-numbing, isn't it? LeBron, who has said that he sinks $1 million into his body every year, you know, he's going to maybe like, and there it is right there, 71 days. You know, he's going to really sink probably even more money into his body this year because he's going to need a little bit more rest. I go back to what he posted on social media about a month ago when news broke that the season was going to open on December 22nd. He put an emoji out there. He did the face palm because LeBron was like, are you kidding me? This is half of what he's used to as far as rest during an offseason. Maybe he takes a game off here and there over the first month or so, but he was playing at such a high level just a couple short months ago. I don't think his level of play is going to fall off at all.
All right, guys, Lakers ring ceremony is coming up, 6:30 over on TNT. Wesley Matthews will not receive a ring. A little extra motivation for him this season. The career 38% three-point shooter gives the Lakers another weapon on offense. And next on Access, just to get you ready for tonight's game, we'll show you the top plays from the Lakers preseason. It's going to have a lot of THT in it. You can guarantee that, Press.
Access Sportsnet Lakers is brought to you in part by Wingstop, the official wings of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Lakers and Clippers open the season at 7 o'clock. Here's what you need to know. It's been just 71 days since the Lakers beat the Miami Heat in 6 games to take home their 17th NBA title. As the 2020-21 season tips off, the hometown rival Clippers are in the building to see the purple and gold receive their championship rings. However, the Lakers will wait to reveal that 17th banner until fans can be in Staples to watch. More good news for Laker fans. There will be no talk of free agency this season. The team's biggest stars are here to stay. Over the last few weeks, LeBron James signed a 2-year, $85 million extension. Fellow cornerstone Anthony Davis re-upped on a 5-year, $190 million max deal. And homegrown hero Kyle Kuzma signed a 3-year, $40 million extension, ensuring stability for years to come. That big three will be joined by some fresh faces eager to win title. Number 18, Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder excel in both the starting 5 or off the bench. Marc Gasol is a former Defensive Player of the Year and NBA champion. Wesley Matthews, career 38% shooter from deep. While not technically a new face, second-year stud Talen Horton-Tucker was the talk of the preseason. Kid averaged 20 points a game. THT gave Frank Vogel some difficult decisions to make because of his play this preseason. He logged over 31 minutes a game, shooting well above 50% in three-point percentage and field goal percentage. This week, head coach Frank Vogel talked about what sort of role we can see from the preseason phenom.
We're a ball movement team, so whether he's out there with Bron or AD, he still gets the ball on second side action and has shown to be very effective with that. And obviously what he was able to do in the preseason games with those guys out has been very impressive. So we like what he brings to the table. If we're asked to lean on him as a primary scorer or playmaker, like we did in some of those preseason games, but he definitely has shown that he can be effective, off of playing off of other guys as well.
So THT was the MVP of the preseason, and it was a lot of fun, but now the real thing is here. He's 20 years old. He's on the deepest team in the league, the defending champions. Should we temper expectations? Should we practice patience, or what do you think, James?
Well, you definitely have to practice patience. I mean, even though he's had a great showcase in preseason and a little bit in the bubble when he had his chance, he is the real deal. And so teams will start to pay attention to him, and they will start to, strategize and scout against him and have game plans against him to make it a little bit more difficult. But he has so many skills and so much talent and can do so many things, Gita. You see there, shooting from deep. He gets to the cup very well. But one thing that's going to make it difficult to stop him is he really understands the angles and how to use his body to use that as a guard while he gets his shot off. 7-foot wingspan. You don't expect him to stretch out like he does. Difficult to defend. And on the defensive end, he's pretty good matchup for most guards. So yeah, he's got to play. He's the real deal.
Look, I think you can only be safe with yourself when you talk about tempering expectations, because at the end of the day, he's still a young player in this
20.
league. And the reality is he's going to make mistakes. You know, that's the beautiful part about having to evolve and be as great when it comes to the years that you continue to put in. But I think at the end of the day, what he showed us the most in the preseason, and I think we even saw it in that Houston series during the playoffs, was just his composure and his poise. Do you know how many players and how long it takes them for the game to just seem slow and yet be able to succeed and excel? And that's something we're seeing very early with Talen Horton-Tucker, and that's rare. That's special.
Yeah, listen, Vogel has confidence in him. We saw it. You just mentioned the Houston series. I don't know what's going to happen in this rotation, but I know the young man passes the eye test. I know he's fearless. He's got the body, and he's going to be a player. So we'll see. I'm sure Frank is going to use him at some point. All right, to get you ready for tonight with all the new Laker additions, let's take a look at the Lakers' top plays from the preseason. Number 10, Montrez, steal, throws it down with authority.
It's just a monster, to steal that word from you, example of what the Lakers did in the offseason. On both ends of the floor, the versatility they added, his want, his desire to get after it, especially defensively.
AG, big game, just kind of says, get that out.
Yeah, just baited him right in there, made him look like he's going to get the shot off in the length. Just tracking it and meeting him at the rim with the left hand and then giving a little pat on the butt. Say, you know better than that, young fella.
Alley number 8 is THT pulling a Kawhi on Kawhi, baby claw.
This is
First of several appearances here on the top plays for THT, I bet.
Where my moment of, this is not a fluke with Talen Horton-Tucker. This is real. He fears nothing.
And here he is again, big game. That is my favorite right there, the jump stop using the body.
And that's what Allie's talking about, the composure to be able to do this in traffic, change directions, and then meet the body at the rim and get a shot off. You see how he protects the ball and gets a shot off? Amazing talent.
Number 6, Allie, Marc Gasol throwing dimes all over the place. The Spaniard showing off his vision all preseason long. Looks to KCP, THT, Schroeder, and finally AD.
He's the total package. It's one of my favorite quotes learning about Marc Gasol this offseason. A former teammate of his says, having him out on the floor is like having 2 point guards out there at all times.
This is one of my favorites right here, Allie. A long outlet to AD.
Stealing out of Wes Unseld.
That's right. In memory of Big West.
Number 5. Let's get back to THC. Stop the nonsense. Spinning and one.
There he is. Most guys will try to go as fast as they can. Look at him in second, third gear, confronted by the defense, able to change directions and get the shot off a potential three-point play.
Devin Booker thought he had a layup. Trez.
Ooh.
No, you don't.
That wasn't even the initial defender.
No.
That's what has me hyped.
We're going to go number 3. This is a Lakers signature last season. It's defense to offense. It's what we love about them, big game. When they get steals, they're out in transition. AD's diving into the stands, and it ends up with a LeBron putback.
Yeah, best in the NBA in transition when their defense is clicking and they're able to capitalize off their defense before the offense can get back. A dangerous team because they got a lot of options on the break. Good hustle.
Last look. Let's go to number 2. Preseason was THT's coming out party. In case you didn't get the memo, listen in.
Yeah, and you can tell he's been in the lab, though. I mean, look at this. Another step-back three-pointer. I mean, come on. I mean, he's just playing. It's just confidence right now. Yeah. It's just confidence.
I don't care who that is on. He is 20. He's 10 days into 20 years old in the NBA.
Yeah, as Billy Mack says, come on.
Come on, man.
We're going to go to number 1. Speaking of step backs, it's AD.
With 3, with 2, with 1, at the corner. Why not? Yes, sir. Anthony Davis.
If they kept back, Smith, you'll learn. He's very, very good.
You just don't expect that from a 7-footer to be able to step back with poise, kind of bait you into backing up a little bit. hit the big shot against Denver. That's part of his game. It's just lovely to watch him when he's knocking down the
I
trays.
have a feeling you're going to see a lot of that this year. Yes. Yeah. Championship ring ceremony. It's minute. NBA Jersey Day, and Bill Russell even showing some love for the Lake Show, posting a photo of him wearing a Kobe 24 and the caption, "Thinking of my friend, Kobe." It's a great picture.
11 rings. There's nobody that loves being a part of the NBA more than Bill, man. He's a great man. You know, if you go back and read about his life coming through the 50s and 60s, and he's an incredible guy.
Icon.
11 rings.
Lakers are about to receive their championship rings, but banner number 17 will not be unveiled until the Lakers can share that night with fans at Staples Center. But we do see the Larry O'Brien trophy. Our friend is in the building. I love you. Thank you for being here.
You and Larry are tight.
Love Larry. Great relationship. Have so many of them in my career. It's amazing as a Laker fan.
Just waiting for that.
Yep. A lot of them. A lot more than most people. The Lakers ring ceremony is coming up at 6:30 on TNT. The game is at 7, but make sure you head over there at 6:30 for the ring ceremony, and you switch back to us after the game. We'll have all the highlights, the analysis, your Laker post-game interviews. You'll hear from LeBron, AD, Frank Vogel, everybody. Maybe Duds, you never know.
Love Duds.
Take a shot. Brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. You're each going to pick a Laker you think is going to impact this game. You're going to tell us how. James Worthy, you're up first. Take a shot.
AD, you know, first year here, last year, wins a championship, signs for 5 years. He knows where his home is. Plus, he loves the weather. Can't beat the weather. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he takes control of leadership. Not that LeBron's still the leader, but it's going to be interesting to see how he takes control of this team, put him on his back, defensive player. He wants to get defensive player of the year. He didn't get it last year. So it's going to see how his attitude starts the engine at the beginning of the season.
Love the pick. What about for you, Allie?
I'm on the Kuz bus, going with Kyle Kuzma. Kuz is a champion. He got a well-earned contract. But that's all behind you. Go out and be you, Kyle Kuzma. This team has given you support. They believe in you. They say that you are a huge piece to what they want to do, and that's bring another championship, the 18th one this season. He's a big piece of that.
Third leading scorer on a championship team. That's what he was last year. All right, Brez, what about for you?
Schroeder said a few weeks ago he wanted to start for this team. It looks like that is going to happen. Not quite official yet, but I want to see what he can do as the highest scoring reserve in the NBA last season. Almost 19 points a game for Schroeder.
Who you got, Gator?
Montrezl Harrell. Rivalry against his old team.